Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Peace and Profits, the podcast. Today, we have the most special guest I have ever had. Her name is Katie Edwards, and she is my oldest child. So, as of next Monday, a week from today, I will have been a mother for 20 years to this most perfect human. Um, we all kind of giggle
Yes, who
sarcastically.
who's
Obvious.
laughing? I'm not.
So let me just go ahead and let everyone know who is listening to this. Both Katie and I are extremely ADHD. We are also far too comfortable with each other and talk like 14 to 15 times daily. And so this conversation could go any direction. I do have like 5 notes, but we'll see what happens. So the title of today's podcast is Being the Child of a Female Entrepreneur. And so we are going to get Katie's perspective on what life has been like over these past 20 years and let her tell us a little bit about herself. And that's actually where we're going to get started. So Katie, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and tell us a few things about life right now?
Hey, well, hello everyone. If you don't know me, I am the oldest child of this here Kelly Carrico. I go to school at the University of Tennessee studying business and hopefully entrepreneurship, actually.
Hopefully. What is the title of your degree as of right now?
Public administration.
Public administration. So for all of you parents out there listening, let's just start with this random HD or ADHD tangent for a moment. You
Okay.
know, this is one we should keep track. So there is something called common market parents. And if your child wants to go to an out of state institution, you should look into common market because there are degrees that you can take and get your child in state tuition at out of state universities, which is what we have done here with Katie, but she is actually getting ready to change her major to entrepreneurship, which has kind of prompted the whole podcast today. Okay, so Katie, originally from West Virginia, now lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. Katie, how you liking Knoxville?
I love it. It's great. Best place on earth.
What is the best part about college right now?
I don't know. I have my own space. I get to go places. I have friends now.
Do you think that Knoxville is more interesting than Southern West Virginia?
Oh, for sure. I mean, clearly will be 20 next week, and this is the first year I've ever had friends. So, well, last year. Last year.
for for those previous friends of Katie who happen to listen to this, she's sorry, but it's fine. Okay, so
I
all
mean, like
right,
more than like one.
more than one. Yeah, so you've enjoyed it. I think that probably it seems like one of your favorite parts is like going to the games and whatnot. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that's all I do. Yeah, that's
Katie
why I'm
is
here.
Katie is a major fan of the football games, and well, Katie and most of the United States right now. So UT's had a really good year. It's been a good year to be a fan of Smokey. Okay, so let's jump right in. I do have some questions for you, and I am actually really excited to see what you have to say about this. So, guys, I did not really prompt her or prep her for this. I just wanted to ask her questions and see what she says. So, what was it like having a mom who really liked business more than, doing the dishes and doing the laundry and the homemaking stuff?
Well, honestly, for the most part, I didn't really think it was weird. Like I thought it was normal. I mean, being raised like that, that's what you think is normal. And then like now I realize that it's different. But like I went to all your pictures. I set up everything for a very long time. Literally every single day that you had a session, I was probably there.
Did you like that?
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I used to think I wanted to be a photographer.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
really because I like taking pictures, but I was like, I could be good at it, I guess.
Well, you knew a lot about it from the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, do you remember me before I owned a business? Like, do you remember life before that very much?
Um, Not really. I don't really remember.
Do you remember me teaching?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I forget all the time
Yeah.
because it
What?
just doesn't even fit you. Like,
Right.
being in a school for hours at a time,
Yeah.
no.
What do you notice now as like a grown child that is different about the way that you grew up versus like the way that other people grew up who had parents who were like in, let's quote unquote, normal professions, who were like at a job, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5?
I don't know. I have never even thought about that because it's not even I don't know. That's a weird question. Why didn't you ask me before, Kelly?
Well, I mean, I'm just curious. Like, did you notice that, I was able to, I guess, be at things or do things or leave and
Oh,
like
yeah,
bring
yeah.
you stuff that you forgot? Did you notice that
I
part?
guess probably the main thing was, like, the volleyball tournaments.
Mm,
'Cause, like, I mean, we would travel every single weekend and, like, you never missed.
mm-mm.
But like, there were people who, like, their parents almost never got to go, or, like,
Right.
it would be one or the other.
Yeah.
But, like, the majority of, like, the only time Mimi would ever take me places was if, like, you had a wedding,
Right.
and, like, that was a big deal. I was like, "Oh, you have a wedding? That's kinda rude," but
How dare you?
yeah, but, like, even, like, games during the week, like, in high school,
Yeah.
you never miss those.
No. No. Did you ever wish that it was different, like that I did something more normal or no?
No, no.
For those of you just listening to the podcast and not watching the YouTube, like she snarled. Like, you should know it's an ew face right now.
I I don't know, I could never even picture you doing anything else.
Could you ever picture me being employed by somebody
No,
else?
no,
Why is
no.
that?
Because mom, no, there's no possible way you could ever work for anyone.
What
Because I
characteristics do I have that make you say I'm unemployable?
well, it's not even no, you're not unemployable, you just refuse to be employed.
That's a
Like,
fact.
yeah, it's not
Are you
no, I
are
don't
you
know, I
saying that
guess
I have control issues?
y yeah, yeah, let's say that.
Okay, let's say that. So, what do you think that you get from me in that regard? Since now you're saying that you want to be an entrepreneur, how are you and I similar that you think you too should be an entrepreneur?
It's a great question. Hmm, I don't know because I am like you made over. So that I don't even need to tell you the stuff that I see like stuff of you that I have because it's just everything.
Yeah. Tell the
Like
people who do not know you.
I don't know.
What
I'm
is
very
one of your characteristics that makes you think that you do not want to go and work for somebody else from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday?
I hate being required to do something like that isn't by my own choice.
Yeah. And you would say you get that from me?
Yes. Like if I don't want to go to work, why are you gonna make me? Like that's
Oh,
the
you know
thing. Like,
what? Okay, this is not on my list, but let's talk about this. Okay, so in the last 2 years, you have found yourself in the workforce, right? So you've had a couple of jobs. So you have
yeah.
to understand, Katie went with me to all of these sessions, these photography sessions. She watched me grow that business. She watched me grow my network marketing business. And Katie, I think, had a very misconstrued idea of money and payments. Would you agree with that, Katie?
Yes and no, because I mean, Tim has a job.
Yes.
Like, it's not like I'm only seeing you.
Right.
I definitely was, like, expecting more, I think.
Okay. So let's talk about the day that you got your very first paycheck from your retail store that you worked this summer. Do you remember that?
Not really.
Oh, you don't.
No.
You called me screaming that you worked 3 weeks of your life for this amount of money. You don't remember that?
I do that every week. I do that every single time that I get paid.
You do that every single week. Would you
Every
say
single
that
time.
would you say that income is partially motivating you to go into entrepreneurship?
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because
So,
every single time I see my paycheck, I get mad.
right.
Like, yes, I'm getting paid and I'm like, yay, I can eat, but
Mhm.
I'm like, come on, this is not even fair.
Okay, so finances are obviously a very good reason to be an entrepreneur. And you've covered more than just finances that you saw as like an advantage. But if I'm asking you, like, what do you think the advantages are and were of being an entrepreneur, of owning your own business? What are some of the advantages that like you saw in our life that you want to carry into like your adult life?
Well, I mean, I know that you had the chance to homeschool the girls,
Yeah.
which I don't want to homeschool my kids, but if I mean, I can.
Yeah, if you want
I
to.
have the option.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to I don't know.
You're doing great.
But I do like the no like the difference between you being able to choose what you do in the day rather than
Mhm.
like whenever you were work all day every day.
Right.
Even if you were at home.
Yeah. It was
Like,
by my choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like now that you have more control of just like being able to do literally anything,
Yeah. So like you feel pretty confident if you were to message me and say that I had to be in Knoxville tomorrow, what would happen?
you would probably be in Knoxville.
I would be in Knoxville tomorrow, right?
Yeah. No,
Is
you'd
that
be in
some
Knoxville tonight.
well
If
that's
I
true.
yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that something that you hope to carry into like your adult life?
Yeah, I literally whenever I was just now making my schedule for class,
Yeah. Good
fact
example.
the fact that like I had to schedule my classes so that I could if I wanted to come home early, I could.
Yeah.
Like that I'm doing that now.
Yeah, you are. So you're in business right now in entrepreneurship. Do you have any idea what kind of business you want to own?
I do. I
Tell
want
us about it.
to have a coffee shop.
Okay.
That's
Tell us
it.
more.
Very I don't want it to be big. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm fine with having maybe one day a couple of locations, but I'm not looking to open a franchise or anything. I
No,
want
you want you want like a small business.
yes,
Yeah.
local. I know my customers know me.
Yeah.
That's
Are there any places in Knoxville that you kind of want to shout out that have inspired you like to have a business similar to that?
Golden Roast for
Golden
sure.
Roast. So
Yeah.
if anybody's listening and you're in the Knoxville area, check out Golden Roast. Any others?
Well, there's another one that I haven't got the chance to go to yet.
Okay.
It's called what's it called? Like the Frothy Monkey or something.
The Frothy Monkey.
It's something I can
That's a
look it up
brave
later,
name.
but it's something like that.
Yeah.
I hope that's not so wrong that it's like, it's
That
something
no
like
one could find it.
yeah,
That
it's
it's not
something
like the
along those
fuzzy
lines.
donkey and you said the Frothy Monkey.
No, it's something along those lines, but I do
Okay.
really wanna go there. But there's K-Brew. I've been there a couple times, it's really cute. There's
Yeah.
hammocks inside.
Now, when you first started this conversation about opening your own business, it was not a coffee shop. You were talking about having like mixed drinks, but they weren't alcoholic.
Mom, I've been talking about having a coffee shop since I was little.
I know that, but you went to Charlotte and you visited a place and it had like smoothies and stuff, and you were intrigued by that. What was that place?
That was Clutch.
Clutch.
Clutch
Yeah.
Coffee Bar.
Okay. So
And
let's
that
get,
that was still a coffee shop too.
what is it? That
That
was
was
still a
still
coffee shop.
yeah.
Okay, so let's get a little bit back to like your childhood and growing up and how this has impacted you. So, do you remember being poor at all? Do you
Or
remember our trailer?
oh, yes. I
Yeah,
remember many things about our trailer.
yeah. What do you remember about our trailer?
I remember, um, what we ate for dinner.
What did we?
Ramen,
Yeah,
cereal, mac and cheese,
yeah,
Kraft mac and cheese.
yeah.
Um,
Do you remember having a television?
yes,
Do
I
you
was about to
remember
say
what?
that.
Yeah.
I remember that I used to perform like the Hannah Montana songs and like the Wiggles. We watched the Wiggles.
We did watch the Wiggles. We had Barney on like replay because you guys, we did not have cable. We had VHS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think that, I don't know if this is like subconsciously or you're aware of it, but do you think that you connect owning a business to like getting out of the situation that we were in?
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my gosh, Kelly. I
Are we having therapy right now?
Are we?
Are we? We might be.
We might be. No, that's a good point. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
makes sense though.
I do.
I
Like
know,
I think about
yeah, I know
that.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's come out more recently.
How so?
Like you've always been open about us being poor.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you talk about it a lot more now.
Did that bother you?
What?
That I was very open about us being broke?
Not no,
You never
no,
seemed ashamed of it.
no, I would talk about it.
Yeah. I think you always seemed more like proud of the growth, like the
Yeah,
getting out of it. Yeah,
yeah.
than you ever did like seem ashamed of it. I think had you seemed ashamed of it, I wouldn't have been so open with it. But yeah,
I feel
I
like
just
everybody I've really ever known always knew.
yeah.
Like if I was friends or like close with them, like it wasn't like a thing that I was hiding.
Yeah. What are
'Cause
some characteristics that you think maybe you have that carry over from us being broke? Do you think that you have anything that like you worry about or you think about?
I worry about everything
Facts.
ever,
Talk to us about how you
literally.
spend your money though. Do you think that maybe that
Um,
carried over?
I don't even think I told you this. I still have not bought groceries since you bought me groceries on fall break. I haven't.
Is there money in your bank account?
There is money, but it
Of
is for my
course.
rent.
Of course. Yeah. There is money.
I'd rather have somewhere to live.
Do you, of course. Yeah. Do you think that you are a little bit tighter with money because of
Yeah.
our history or no?
I literally almost had a mental breakdown because my bank account was like right at the same amount as my rent. And I was like, I'm just gonna die. Like I can't live anymore. Like that was the only option. I was like, I don't know what to do. I have no money.
Obviously, it's just death at this point.
No, literally, like
And because
I'm
you
gonna
at the
starve. I'm
time,
gonna live on the street. I'm got like I can't pay for gas. Like I don't
clearly, and
there's
and
nowhere
I
else
would
to
leave you
go
there
from it.
dying. I mean,
Yeah, everybody
obviously,
would. Nobody cares.
nobody.
Yeah. Nobody
You
would
should
even notice.
you should also know that Katie is slightly dramatic.
Okay. I don't know who I
Where do we
get
think you
there.
get that? Is that
I don't
from
know.
me?
I don't know.
That
That's
is from
the
Mamaw.
fact
I'm
that
pretty sure.
you even kept it going with me proves it's from you. I think that's all we need to know here.
I probably just egged you on, but that's
That's
enough.
true.
Okay.
That's
All
true.
right. So we've talked a little bit about your childhood. We've talked a little bit about how much did you, let's talk about this real quick. So, how much did you absolutely love high school? And don't go too into detail, but just tell everybody that.
Well, not to I'm trying to sound nice.
I know.
High school was not for me. High
In
school was
general.
like not a single day of high school that I enjoy.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't think I could not do it again. Would not do it again. Would rather do anything else than go back to high school.
Do you think this is where I'm going with this? So, do you feel like, I mean, I know that you didn't personally love high school. You played volleyball, you were good, and we learned a lot of things from that experience. Do you think that which was which helped you more preparing for where you are now? Do you think high school, or do you think, all the sessions that you went to with me and like experiencing being around business, like which do you think prepared you more for college, which you seem to love?
Definitely going with you
Okay, tell me why.
because well, and I don't know, in high school I really like I it wasn't even that I stuck to myself. It's like I just didn't even want to talk to people. It was just not fun. And like I don't know, everybody used to always say that I was so shy. I thought I was shy. Everybody has always thought I was shy, but I think it's just because I didn't want to talk to people. But like I would go to your sessions and people would love me.
That's true. The
I
little
know.
kids, the parents, they still ask where you are.
I know.
Yeah. Do you think that built your confidence?
I think it has something to do with my confidence now.
How so?
Well, because I didn't have any
Yeah.
confidence until probably last year.
Well, I mean, it seemed like you always had very selective confidence.
I had 100% confidence in myself playing volleyball
Yeah.
because I knew that I was good
Yeah.
and like people told me I was good.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm good.
I
But
think that you are very much like words of affirmation. Do you know anything about the five love languages?
yeah,
Yeah. I think that you're very much words of affirmation. Like you have to hear somebody say, you're doing a good job. And Katie takes any amount of silence outside of that as you must be horrible, the worst,
yes.
like the worst that's ever been. Absolutely. You should quit and never try again.
Silence equals you hate me.
Right.
And that's
Obviously.
the only, like, once again, only option.
Now, let me ask you this. Since you have watched my businesses, like you know that people aren't always nice, right? And you know that people are
Okay,
sometimes
but to be fair,
critical. Yeah,
you don't have many times that like people don't
you're right.
enjoy what you give them.
Yeah, you're
Like
right.
there have been a couple of instances that stuff went down,
Yeah.
but
And
it
do
wasn't
you
like
find that you know everything that goes down?
I'm somehow always there. If something's gonna happen, I'm probably there
That is true. It seems like anytime that
every
anything
time.
got weird or crazy or I
Every
got
time.
nuts, Katie happened to be there. And I think that was like literally God sending me because I couldn't go crazy like if Katie was beside me. But anyway, I think my question is this, like going into a career in entrepreneurship, like, are you aware that there will be times when people literally just tick you off or say something mean or ugly or leave a bad review?
Yeah, I do know that.
How do you feel about that?
You know what? We're not there yet. That is something that I'm gonna have to figure out whenever it happens. And until then,
And until then, I mean,
my
you can live
issue.
in the world that everybody's going to love everything you do
Oh yeah.
and hope
I'm
for
and
that.
I'm not even saying that the entire everything in the world is perfect, but I am. So
So clearly
unless
she's
you're
learned so much.
unless you're telling me that, then you're wrong. And that's your problem, not mine. Just kidding. I don't actually think like that, but I think it's
No,
funny.
she doesn't. We just kind of joke around about it. So, what are some of the things? Now, this is for real. So, what are some of the things that you think that you have learned that will prepare you for like owning your own business? What are some of the lessons that you've seen that like will prepare you for owning your own business?
Hmm. Well, let's see. Let me process my words.
Process your words. It's fine.
Thanks. Thank you. Um, I'm gonna have a brain fart because I get nervous.
Do you want me to prompt you?
Sure.
Okay. So, let's talk about like time management, for example. Are you now like aware? Did anybody ever wake me up and make me go to work?
No.
No. So, like, do you think that that is a lesson that I think that a lot of the lessons that you've learned are so natural to you, you don't know their lessons.
I think that's what I think that's my issues because
Uh-huh.
like I said, I don't even remember you before
Right.
having businesses.
What are some of the things that you just think are natural about like
Okay,
business?
one thing I will say is like whenever before I even applied anywhere, like you made it known that like if I wanted to open my place, we would open it.
Yeah.
Like like you told me either um like just to not go to college first, like and just buy a place, figure out what I want to do and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
No
was not the
parents,
parent who said you had to go to college.
no. I don't even know a single person that has parents that would tell them that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause that
I
used to
feel
be
like
the thing.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's very also it's like known that you like your parents want you to go to college. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel that's just like a thing that you know.
Yeah.
But it
And
was
we
very
had a very different conversation.
yeah, and it was refreshing. Like it made me feel better because this was even before I decided I wanted to come here.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
I was dreading going to college because of where I thought I had to go.
Yeah, which was in our state. So for those of you listening, like if you don't know how West Virginia rolls, there's something called a promise scholarship, which Katie qualified for, which means that essentially she could go to college for free in the state of West Virginia. And then she also had the ability to play at a couple small schools. But she didn't want to go to a small school. And so we had a lot of decisions to make. Essentially, she picked the most expensive one. But one thing
I cheated the system.
we are cheating the system. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we figure things out. Do you think that
Yeah.
that is one lesson that you've always kind of gotten from both Tim and I, that like we can figure it
Yeah.
out?
Well, you guys have never once limited me, or I mean, or any of the other kids. It's not like you've never limited any of us,
Yeah,
like for
no.
anything.
If you want something, like we'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we don't mean like, just the most expensive of items. We mean like if you want to get something done, we'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
But before I don't I don't remember when, but I feel like sometime in high school I started to feel like I wanted to go to Tennessee
Yeah.
or anywhere. Like I just did not want to stay home, like in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I would always tell people, well, I guess I'll be at OVU. Like I'd
Yeah.
never sounded excited about it. I was like, yeah, I'll end up there.
Yeah.
But because that was mostly because I was like, well, we can't afford it. It's crazy expensive. So that's just not an option. And then we came here and then we realized that it was an option.
Mhm.
And you were like, if you want to go, we're gonna go. And I was like, okay, well, let's go.
Who
I
said that?
You did.
It wasn't me.
Well,
I didn't say it first.
it was probably Tim.
It was Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, if that's where you want to be, if that's where she wants to be, that's where she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've kind of taken that attitude towards literally everything. And I do hope that that is like something that you have gotten from us. Like
That's
if there's something you want, it can be done
yeah.
no matter what. Might not be done on the first try, but like we'll get it done.
And that's also the difference between like being raised as like spoiled rather than being raised as doing what you want to do.
Talk about that.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, what is the difference between how we raised you and just being spoiled? Because like we're saying things that could be interpreted as spoiled. Like if you want something, we make sure that it happens. But what is the difference between having that attitude and just raising a spoiled kid, which you're not?
Because it was never like, oh, well, if you want to do this, then like we'll get it for you. Like if you want me to buy you this, I'm going to buy you this. Like we had the freedom to be able to do that, but it wasn't like I never had the feeling that I have to figure out how to word it because I guess saying it does sound like.
Did you ever feel like entitled as if like we owed that to you?
No. Like, I mean, literally every kid has a time where they're going to be like, oh, well, I want this. Like, you're not going to give me this.
And I deserve it. Yeah.
Literally any person ever.
Sure.
Feels like that.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to things that matter, it was like, well, if you want to go, then figure out how we're going to go.
Yeah.
If you want,
we had a conversation on the way here. Like, so when Katie changes her major to entrepreneurship, then she has to figure out a way to be a resident of Tennessee. Like that's what
I've known that since before I even got here.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about doing this since then.
So do you think that this is something that I think, and I'm just curious what you think, but do you think that entrepreneurship has made us as a family just resilient to those kind of problems, like those kind of obstacles?
Yeah.
How do you think that we see them versus how maybe somebody else might see them?
Well, they don't feel like obstacles to me.
Okay. What do they feel like?
It feels like, well, like if you want to change your major, then figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's how literally anything we've ever done has been.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things don't really seem like an obstacle to me.
And I think that we have always been very clear about pointing out with you, like you're doing hard things and recognize like as we are figuring out hard things that they're hard.
Yeah.
And like when you get on the other side of it, every time that you overcome anything that is difficult, I mean, it builds confidence. And I think that is probably how you have changed so much, is because like we have been very open with like, hey, you know what? It sucked to be broke. It sucked to live it didn't suck to live in our single wide trailer. It was fantastic. We had a great time. with our
Yeah.
ramen noodles and our Dora Explorer. Like we were okay.
Yeah.
But like we have always been very open with the obstacles. And what's interesting is one of the things that Katie said that she was so confident about was volleyball. But was that always the case?
No,
No, like what happened that changed that?
I broke my body.
No, well, talk about that.
Okay, well, 8th grade, I broke my tibia, and then a week after that happened, I broke my finger off.
She broke her finger from her knuckle to her joint a week after finding out that her tibia was broken as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't break off, but literally
Well,
the
the bone
specialist,
came off.
yeah, it did.
The bone
The
was not attached.
yeah, her finger was attached, but the bone wasn't
Bone was
attached.
not. Yeah.
Correct. So the specialist in our area comes into the room and is like, "This is above my pay grade." And then what happened, Katie?
And then we went to Charleston
Yeah,
and
to see
found out
who?
I don't remember his name.
A hand specialist, right?
Oh yeah, I had
Yeah.
yeah.
How many
And
times a week?
well, I was about to say that they had to give me emergency surgery.
Yeah,
Like
emergency
they
surgery.
put it down as emergency surgery,
Yeah.
and we had to drive to Charleston 2 to 3 times a week
Mhm.
for 2 months, 3 months,
Yeah. So
while I was still on crutches.
that was a big obstacle.
Yeah,
Like 2016, 2017, that was pretty big.
and that
But
was going into freshman year of high school.
but at any point did we let you think that like this was the end of you playing?
No,
No. In
not at all.
fact, kind of quite the opposite. Very rarely in Katie's life have I ever been very much like you have to do anything. But
Mhm.
during that year, there were a few times when I forced you to do some things. What is one thing that you can remember that I made you do?
Acupuncture.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? Shout out to
I do,
Casey.
because Casey Korchik saved my life. Literally.
Maybe On Point Acupuncture should sponsor this episode of Peace and Profits
Yeah.
podcast.
Casey, I'm coming home for you. Please,
Yeah.
please listen to
So
this.
we will summarize this very quickly, but there
Let me tell.
there was a
Let me
point in
tell.
Katie's okay,
Let me
but
do
there
it.
was a point in Katie's life. I want everybody to hear this when Katie literally was giving up. And I feel like everybody listening has had a moment or maybe is in that moment where they feel like giving up because everything was going wrong for Katie. And Katie was how old? 14?
14.
14. So everything was going wrong. And, there's only so much like love and compassion that you can show a person who is on the verge of giving up. And this was a huge turning point, I think, for probably both of us, because I got real serious with you. So
Yeah.
anyway, tell us about how I forced you to go to acupuncture.
Well, I guess I'll sit here and expose myself for everyone. I
Sounds horrible.
I turned into a complete brat. I mean, I was literally the size I am now. Actually, I weigh less now than I
I was
did.
going to say, no, you were bigger then.
Well, I
You
was
weighed more, but you were shorter. Yeah.
not much. I was still like 5'6".
She had gained about 15 pounds over the course of probably 3 to 4 months because she
Yeah.
went from being extremely active to literally not being able to do anything and kind of gotten her feels about it, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
Hey,
We
talk to us.
don't even need to talk about that. I'll go back to
Okay.
being a brat because
Okay.
that's somehow better.
Okay. Sure.
So you told me that you were gonna make me go to acupuncture.
Yeah.
And I threw a fit as a 5'6" big
Mhm.
girl, big 8th grade girl.
Big 8th grade girl.
And
Yeah.
I locked myself in the pantry.
I was wondering if you remembered that.
That's why I wanted to be the one to say it, because I literally locked myself in the pantry, not in my bedroom. Don't know why, but because she was dragging me out the door, and I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going. I was sobbing in the pantry. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And then, because right before this is whenever they told me that my bone was dying, basically.
Yeah, they told her that there was not going to be any more bone growth and that they were probably looking into putting a pin in her leg
No, a
and
rod.
a rod in her leg, pin in the fingers, rod in the leg.
Fingers, rod in the leg.
My bad. And that she would not be playing volleyball anymore. And
Yeah.
so literally never has Katie in her entire life from birth until that day said, hug me. And she was sobbing. And
I
she
don't
was
remember that.
Yes. Yeah. I remember it vividly because I think it's still to this day the only time you've ever said it, like when you were serious.
Yeah.
and you were like, hug me. And I was like, that's it. We're
Mhm.
doing this. And for anybody who is listening, I don't know if you have like a mama bear moment, but I have them often. And I got real with Katie. And I was like, get in the car. And y'all have to understand at this point in life, I looked dead. Like my skin was completely gray. I had not only had this happen. Yeah. Not only had this happened to Katie, but Emma had 3rd-degree burns from hot chocolate at a party
The week before I found out about my broken leg.
the week before. And then the 2 weeks after, she had a severe kidney infection that landed us in the hospital with a $12,000 bill. So life was not going very well. But I want you to know that, like, if you run into a person in your life who listens to you and they take in the complaining and the concerns, which is what I was doing with Katie, but then all of a sudden they break and they're like, absolutely not, no more. Know that that's probably done in love. And do you think that me forcing you to do that literally changed your life?
That's why I say that she literally saved my life.
Yeah.
Like, it
But
has,
she did, Katie, but
but I mean,
I'm
like, me going.
yeah, let me
Like,
teach you this real quick. You making the decision to go is what actually
I did not make the decision. I was
okay.
forced.
Okay. Well,
Right.
still, I pretended like I could lift you up, but I couldn't. You got in the car. And then after that, it only took one time
Mhm.
and they began to see bone growth. And so that one positive remark, again, Katie's love language is words of affirmation. She
I think
heard the
that's a good
doctor
thing to say.
say, we can see some bone growth. And they asked us at the MRI, like what we had done. And we said that we had gone for acupuncture. But I think too, it was the decision to like accept
Mhm.
that there's this hope that maybe we're going to get better. And
Yeah,
so Katie was a hitter in middle school ball. She was a hitter, but she couldn't jump anymore because she had a
yeah.
broken leg. So that summer she learned how to do what, Katie?
Okay, well, I literally remember it exactly. We were it was I don't remember if it was in I don't think it was over the summer. It was literally, like, in season, I think, like, at the beginning of the season, because I somehow was about to convince myself that I didn't need to play.
On the first day,
Yeah, it
Bree
was like
asked who wanted to try out for setter, and you said you would.
no, she was like, "Is anybody here setters?" And nobody raised their hand, and I was like, "I'll do it."
Opportunity.
And I was like, "I'll do it." I've
Yeah.
never once in my life done that
Yeah.
before this,
Yeah.
ever.
And ended up playing varsity for 4 years. So I know that we did get off on a tangent, but I think that there are a lot of really good lessons to be learned from that because, and I will summarize, but the next year, Katie just sat on the bench most of the time. She didn't play much. She's in the 9th grade on a varsity team. And then the next year, her coach told her that, she just wasn't confident enough to play. And Katie couldn't figure out, well, if you don't play me, then how do I build my confidence? But what I continued to see throughout her life, and I see in so many people's lives, is that all of those things were really, really hard. And she kept seeing, yeah, but it did, like, I didn't die. Like, those things were really hard, but I didn't die. And so that conversation, actually, her motivation came from just kind of irritation and anger. And I think
Yeah,
that,
because in that moment, I was like, "What do you mean I'm not confident?"
right,
But I
you weren't
wasn't.
playing confident at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
You
and I
weren't
was
showing that.
like, yes, I was like, "Oh, like, I'm good, like, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah." But
You had always been able to do things halfway and they were still really good
yeah,
until that moment.
yeah,
Like you had always done things halfway and it was like, oh, but I still get A's, but I didn't study. Oh, well, I didn't really work, but I'm still making varsity. And then all of a sudden it wasn't good enough. But I think that all of those are really good life lessons for you because when you get to owning your own business, like there are so many lessons wrapped up in that because
yeah,
you had to do things hard, don't you think?
yes.
Yeah. I mean, you had to do things hard. Not everything, had come very easy, right? So there were
Yeah.
some other things, excuse me, that you have overcome. Do you want to mention any of those?
Where should we begin?
Where should we begin?
Don't know.
I think that you
Getting
have
down to be
more
nice.
of an inspiring story than even like you realize.
Yeah, probably, because I don't know. I don't I don't see it that way, but
Well, and that's probably like you don't see it that way that our life was very different than a lot of people.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Do you think that you going into this next season in your life as an adult, do you truly believe that you could do anything you want to do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you've never made me feel any other way.
Yeah. And
There's
I
never been a
believe it.
reason there's never been a reason that I couldn't.
Right. Like, why not? Might be
Exactly.
hard, but you can do it.
Yeah. It's not gonna be fun, but you can get
Might
there.
not be fun for a minute, but you can do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Do you find yourself having a different mindset than some of the other people that you're meeting?
Yeah. Not yeah.
How so?
Well, a lot of people, like maybe not even people that I've met here necessarily, but I think you know who I'm speaking of. Are like, just go to college, get something that's gonna make you good money, and then who cares about the rest?
You know what? That makes me think of something that you mentioned the other day talking about school. Um, I have always preached one thing about how you pick your career. And you were talking about you were so thankful that you had learned that lesson. Do you remember what it was?
Girl.
Girl, did I ever teach you to choose your career
Well,
based on money?
oh, no.
So what did
I was
I
about to
teach
say,
you?
I don't even remember what I ate for dinner last night. Um,
So what did I teach you?
don't put me spot on.
Instead of choosing a career, right, just because of money, you
Mhm.
always said, and you told me that I always told you, like, choose something that you want to do, that you love to do, and then figure out a way to make money
Yeah.
doing it.
See, I was gonna say that, but I was afraid it's gonna be the wrong answer, so I'd rather just not.
Katie, do you have an issue sometimes with overthinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me pause and think.
Let me think
Of-
about that. Yeah.
you will get out of that because that is definitely not a problem that I have, and we are very, very similar.
Yeah, but I've literally been overthinking every aspect of my life since a baby,
But you're getting better.
since a child.
Do you think you're getting better?
About overthinking? No.
Yeah,
No, I promise.
not at all.
There are certain things that I've been able to, like, okay, I can sometimes make a decision alone now,
That's
but
that's excellent.
I do
Like
have to
what you're
talk
gonna
it
eat for
through.
dinner.
That's not a conversation right now. It's 2 o'clock. I can't. No, like, I literally I still do call you about every single thing that happens in my life,
You do.
but I at least now can call you and tell you, "Okay, I decided to do this," instead of,
Yes.
like, waiting for you to tell me what to do.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have the freedom to tell me anything?
I do.
I know.
I
I don't
do.
think a lot of people. I don't think you know how different that is. Because, like, you know that if you literally called me and you were like, I think I'm going to open up a karate, whatever it is, a place that you teach karate, I would be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, you'd be like you would look for places to rent.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you think that that benefits you to grow up with that freedom to do, like, to want to do whatever you want to do?
Well, it definitely helps knowing that, like, you literally will support me no matter what it
Yeah.
is. Like, it doesn't matter what I wanna open, like, we're gonna do it. You're gonna support me with it, and it's gonna, like, it's
Yeah.
knowing that it doesn't matter, but it's gonna happen.
And what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly. What's the literally the only thing that happened is it not work out, you have to do something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you pick out something else.
Yeah.
So why not? Exactly. All right. So we're going to end with this question. Okay. What are some things that you have noticed have really helped you in college that you learned, like, by watching Tim and I both build businesses?
Okay, well, I'll bring up my English class
Okay.
because you love this class and you wish you could take it.
I do. I wish I could
Literally,
take it.
this my entire English class is exactly what I have watched you and Tim do my entire life.
Like what?
Literally, okay. So all of my assignments, it'll be like asking about so actually the whole purpose of the class is to figure out how to run small businesses the correct way.
Mhm.
That's literally what the course is. Um
Sounds
and
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I had an assignment once that was about 100 true or 1,000 true fans. And it was basically saying, like, can you build a business on on only on 1,000 true supporters? And
And
then, like,
I got
build
real
from
excited
there.
about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like even now, like I'm literally creating actual sales funnels, actual like what's the
Lead
word?
magnets.
That's not what I was thinking of, but thank you. Um,
You're welcome.
you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm
Doesn't matter, but
actually
things like that.
I'm literally doing that for an actual person who has been on TV, who is building a website, who has hundreds of thousands of followers, like in my class.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because you're
Because
familiar with it. It's not scary to you.
this is probably the easiest class I've ever taken
Yeah.
because of it.
And I'm sure that there are other people that are like, this is the hardest class I've ever
I
taken.
literally have 113 in there.
Do you really?
I did. I don't anymore. I have 102 now.
Okay, well, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, so I lied. This is going to be the last question. I promise we're going to get off of here.
I have
What
nowhere to
advice?
be.
Huh?
I have nowhere to be.
You have nowhere to be. Well, I have to go get your sisters.
I know.
Um, okay, so what is a piece of advice that you could give parents if they're thinking about going into entrepreneurship, if they're thinking about owning a business? Like, what advice would you give to parents?
Probably just to like think about the time that you could actually be spending with your kids.
Mm.
Like even if you're working, like that's what like whenever when it goes back to me going to your pictures, like
Yeah.
that was still a way for us to spend time together while you were working. And like even now, like whenever I could, like last year, whenever I came home every weekend, like you had a wedding, but like on the other days you were here. Like I could spend and then whenever like even in high school, I got out of school at 9:45
Oh, yeah.
and came home and we had the entire day.
Yeah.
It's like there are ways to spend time with your children while still making money and still, doing what you need to do.
Hence peace and profits.
I didn't even mean to do that.
You nailed it.
I'm so good
That
at
for
this.
sure is going to be like a
Yes.
YouTube clip right there. Excellent
Put that on a
job.
reel.
Put that on a reel. Eli, get that for us.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we are going to wrap this up. I have a feeling that there will be another episode featuring Katie Edwards coming up very soon, I'm sure. So we appreciate your time. And guys, until next week, have a very peaceful and profitable week. Bye.